For decades, Benny Hill was one of the most recognizable faces on television. His energetic comedy sketches, exaggerated facial expressions, chaotic chase scenes, and unforgettable theme music turned him into a global entertainment phenomenon. Audiences across Britain and far beyond tuned in regularly to watch the wildly unpredictable humor of The Benny Hill Show. To millions of viewers, Benny Hill represented pure escapist entertainment. His comedy relied on slapstick, visual gags, double entendres, and a mischievous sense of humor that pushed boundaries while maintaining an air of playful absurdity. However, beneath the laughter and worldwide success, cultural attitudes were slowly beginning to change. What had once been viewed as cheeky and harmless by large audiences gradually started attracting criticism from viewers who considered parts of the show outdated, offensive, or overly reliant on sexist stereotypes. By the late 1980s, one controversial sketch involving a parody beauty pageant ignited especially fierce backlash. Critics argued that the segment objectified women in ways that no longer fit changing public expectations surrounding comedy and television standards. Although Benny Hill's style had always flirted with risque humor, this sketch became symbolic of a broader debate about whether his comedy belonged to another era. What once seemed rebellious and funny now appeared uncomfortable to a growing number of viewers and television executives. The criticism surrounding that moment eventually contributed to the downfall of one of television's most famous comedy programs. Yet the story behind Benny Hill's rise and fall is much larger than one controversial scene. His journey began long before fame, rooted in working-class England, wartime service, and years of struggling to establish himself in entertainment. To understand why the controversy surrounding his show became so explosive, it is important to first understand the man behind the grin, the comedy style he perfected, and the entertainment world that made him a superstar before eventually turning against him. Childhood, family roots, and early influences. Benny Hill was born Alfred Hawthorne Hill on January 21, 1924, in Southampton, Hampshire, England, though some records later listed 1925 as his birth year. His upbringing was shaped by a fascinating mixture of ordinary working-class life and inherited entertainment traditions. His father, Alfred Hill, managed a surgical appliance business, providing the family with a practical and stable livelihood. However, entertainment already existed within the family bloodline because Benny's grandfather, Henry Hill, had worked as a circus clown. That connection to live performance and comedy would later influence Benny's own artistic direction, even if his path toward stardom initially seemed uncertain. As a young boy, Hill attended Taunton School in Southampton, but nothing about his early education suggested future fame. Before entering show business, he worked a remarkable variety of ordinary jobs, including positions at Woolworths, milk delivery work, bridge operating, driving, and drumming. Those experiences exposed him to many different types of people and personalities, which later became valuable inspiration for his comedy characters. Benny Hill's humor often centered around exaggerated versions of everyday individuals, and his understanding of ordinary British life helped make those portrayals feel relatable to audiences. The entertainment style that influenced him most deeply came from British music hall traditions. Music hall entertainment combined comedy, song, dance, impressions, and variety acts into lively stage productions popular throughout Britain during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Hill admired performers who relied on timing, physical movement, and broad visual humor to engage crowds. He especially idolized Jack Benny, the famous American comedian known for his deadpan delivery and perfect comic timing. In tribute, Alfred Hill eventually adopted the stage name Benny Hill. These influences shaped the foundation of his later television persona. Long before he became internationally famous, Benny Hill was already absorbing the rhythms of classic comedy, studying how performers controlled audiences through expression, pacing, and physical exaggeration. Those lessons would later define one of television's most recognizable comedic styles. Early radio success and television opportunities. Following the war, Benny Hill began pursuing entertainment professionally, though success arrived gradually rather than instantly. His first major breakthrough came through radio, which remained one of Britain's most influential entertainment mediums during the late 1940s. On October 5, 1947, Hill appeared on the popular radio program Variety Bandbox, exposing his humor to a nationwide audience. The show gave him a platform to demonstrate his quick wit, vocal flexibility, and talent for creating comedic characters. Listeners responded positively, helping establish him as a rising performer in British entertainment. At the same time, he returned to radio with Benny Hill Time on the BBC Light program. The series featured satirical humor and parodies of contemporary pop culture, including spoofs of From Russia with Love and references to the Beatles. Through recurring characters like Fred Scuttle and Harry Hill, Benny developed a comedic world audiences could revisit repeatedly. These years were essential because they allowed him to refine the blend of parody, slapstick, satire, and recurring personalities that would eventually define his signature television style. The birth of The Benny Hill Show. On January 15, 1955, The Benny Hill Show premiered on the BBC, launching what would become one of the most successful comedy programs in television history. From the beginning, the show stood apart because of its unusual blend of live performance traditions and modern television techniques. Inspired heavily by British music hall entertainment, the series mixed sketch comedy, visual gags, musical performances, parody, and slapstick chaos into a fast-moving variety format that felt both theatrical and cinematic. Benny Hill's comedic style relied on exaggeration and relentless energy. He played countless characters ranging from foolish authority figures and awkward romantics to clueless workers and eccentric elderly men. His sketches often poked fun at social conventions, celebrities, politicians, and popular culture. The comedy was intentionally broad and accessible, making it easy for international audiences to understand even when language barriers existed. Physical humor became one of the show's defining strengths. Chase scenes, visual misunderstandings, and exaggerated body language allowed viewers worldwide to laugh regardless of nationality. A talented supporting cast helped bring Hill's world to life. Frequent collaborators included Patricia Hayes, Jeremy Hawk, Ronnie Brody, Peter Vernon, and writer Dave Freeman. Another beloved performer was Jackie Wright, whose bald-headed reactions to Hill's playful slaps became iconic running jokes. These performers created recurring comedic chemistry that audiences eagerly anticipated every episode. Although the show initially aired on the BBC, Hill briefly experimented with ITV and ATV before eventually moving permanently to Thames Television in 1969. That transition marked a major turning point. The program evolved into hour-long specials featuring larger production values, more elaborate sketches, and increasingly ambitious musical sequences. Under Thames Television, The Benny Hill Show exploded internationally, eventually reaching audiences in over 140 countries. Hill transformed from a successful British comedian into a worldwide television icon whose face and theme music became instantly recognizable across multiple generations. International fame, and the signature Benny Hill formula. During the 1970s and early 1980s, Benny Hill reached the height of his international popularity. His television specials became massive ratings successes, attracting millions of viewers in Britain, Europe, Australia, and the United States. What made his comedy unusually successful abroad was its reliance on visual storytelling rather than complicated dialogue. Audiences who barely understood English could still laugh at the exaggerated physical humor, chaotic misunderstandings, and absurd chase sequences that defined his sketches. One of the most famous trademarks of the show was its closing chase scene, usually accompanied by the fast-paced instrumental tune, Yakety Sax. These endings featured Hill and various cast members racing through streets, parks, offices, or public spaces in frantic pursuit of one another. Police officers chased criminals, older women chased younger men, and bikini-clad women chased Benny himself while the action unfolded at accelerated speed. The sequences used a filming method called undercranking, where footage was shot slowly and replayed at normal speed to create exaggerated movement. The effect gave the scenes their uniquely frantic and comedic energy. Benny Hill's personal life and public misunderstanding. Despite his loud and chaotic television persona, Benny Hill's private life was surprisingly quiet and reserved. Off-screen, he lived modestly and avoided many of the extravagant habits associated with celebrity culture. Unlike the flirtatious characters he portrayed on television, Hill was often described by friends and colleagues as shy, gentle, and socially awkward in real life. He never married and maintained a relatively isolated lifestyle even at the height of his fame. Hill also developed a reputation for being financially cautious, despite earning enormous wealth from his international success. He preferred simple routines and avoided lavish spending. Friends often described him as someone more comfortable observing life than fully participating in glamorous celebrity circles. That contrast between his public image and private personality created a strange disconnect. Audiences associated him with non-stop mischief and sexual humor, but the real Benny Hill appeared far more introverted and lonely. As criticism against his show intensified during the 1980s, Hill reportedly struggled emotionally with the changing public perception of his work. For decades, he had believed audiences understood his humor as playful absurdity rooted in old-fashioned variety entertainment traditions. Suddenly, many critics viewed his comedy through a far harsher cultural lens. The transition left him increasingly uncertain about his place in modern television. Even after the cancellation of his show, Benny Hill still retained enormous popularity internationally, particularly through reruns and syndication. Many comedians and entertainers continued praising his timing, visual creativity, and influence on sketch comedy. However, the critical backlash overshadowed much of his final professional period. The narrative surrounding his work became dominated by controversy rather than celebration. This misunderstanding of Hill as purely crude or exploitative often ignored the technical brilliance behind his performances. His mastery of timing, physical movement, visual pacing, and character transformation influenced countless comedians around the world. While debates about aspects of his humor remain valid, reducing his entire career to controversy alone overlooks the enormous impact he had on television comedy and international entertainment culture. The lasting legacy of Benny Hill and his show. Even decades after its cancellation, The Benny Hill Show remains one of the most recognizable comedy programs in television history. Benny Hill's influence continues appearing in sketch comedy, parody shows, visual humor, and slapstick performances across multiple countries. His fast-motion chase sequences, exaggerated reactions, and playful physical comedy became iconic elements copied and referenced repeatedly in later entertainment. Although cultural attitudes toward some aspects of his humor changed dramatically, the debate surrounding Benny Hill's legacy remains complex because it reflects broader conversations about comedy itself. Humor often changes with society, and performers who once represented mainstream entertainment can later appear controversial when cultural standards evolve. Benny Hill became one of the clearest examples of that shift. To supporters, he was a harmless entertainer who delivered joy and laughter during an era dominated by variety television. To critics, parts of his comedy represented outdated attitudes that deserved scrutiny and rejection. Both perspectives continue shaping discussions about his career today. What cannot be denied is the enormous scale of his impact. At his peak, Benny Hill reached audiences in more than 140 countries and became one of Britain's most successful television exports. His sketches transcended language barriers through visual storytelling and universal comedic rhythms. Millions who never fully understood English still laughed at the chaos unfolding on-screen because Hill's humor relied heavily on movement, expression, and timing, rather than dialogue alone. The controversial sketch that contributed to his downfall marked the end of an era not only for Benny Hill but also for a style of television comedy rooted in older entertainment traditions. His cancellation symbolized changing social expectations and the television industry's growing sensitivity to representation and public criticism. Yet despite the backlash, Benny Hill's place in entertainment history remains secure. He was a performer who mastered the art of visual comedy, built a global audience, and shaped television humor for generations. His story serves both as a celebration of comedic creativity and a reminder that even the most beloved entertainers must eventually confront the changing values of the world around them. Top of form, bottom of form.